Name it. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the webinar. I'm just going to give us a couple of seconds to let people know that we're live. We can't send out notifications from here, unfortunately, but Facebook will automatically send it. Can you see any of the comments? Do you get any?
I am still having trouble hearing you, so I'm going to try to read your lips as best I can and see if I can bring it up in the background on the BizMoms page to see what's happening. Oh, I can see us there. Okay, excellent. All right, cool. So I'll keep that in the background. And then, yeah, I think we're good to go.
Yay! Good evening, everybody. So I am doing amazing Amy Birks, who is the owner of a hospital business, strategy ninja team. Each other now for a friend on online Facebook connections. So I'm really excited. Do you want to tell us about who you are and do?
Can you say it one more time?
Yeah. Do you want to? No, we're having like technical problems.
Okay, I'm going to go, actually, this is what I'm going to do. You sent me the question, so I'm going to assume that the first question you asked me was, tell us who you are and what you do. Is that right? Excellent. Okay. I can totally do that. Are you guys picking us up okay, by the way? I just want to make sure that you guys can hear us okay. Are we coming through?
You can pop in a comment. That would be good.
Just comment and let us know if you can hear us and see us, because maybe it's just on my end that I'm having trouble hearing Michelle, but I want to make sure that you guys are hearing us okay. So just comment and let us know if you can hear us okay. And in the meantime, I will tell you all about me, because I could talk about that for an entire hour. Okay, so as I think Michelle said, because I'm pretty sure she introduced me, I am Amy Birks, and I am the strategy ninja and the author of The Hustle Free Business, a simple 7-step plan to grow, get results, and have fun. It's an international bestseller, and I think some of you guys have even read it, which is super cool. And what I do is I help online entrepreneurs and coaches just like you who want to change the world to make a bigger impact in your movement and with the results that you really want to create. Without it having to be hard, without having to hustle, without feeling like you're constantly poking yourself in the eye with a salad fork all day long to grow and get results. So that's me and what I do. And it looks like, okay, good. Looks like you guys can hear us and see us. That is excellent.
Yay. So how can we get started and tell us
how to get started? Yeah, great question. So this is funny. For those of you guys that don't know, Michelle was a special guest in my community, the Growth Tribe, yesterday, which was super fun. And Michelle told her story about how she got started in business. And I was like, is Michelle telling her story or is she telling my story? Because it sounds very, very similar. So in a lot of ways, there are a lot of similarities in our stories, which I think is so great. So me, like Michelle, like my whole life, I knew that I was intended for bigger things. There was like something I was here to do. Anybody else ever feel like that? Like, I have something that I'm supposed to do in this lifetime. I don't really know what it is, but there's something. Well, that was me. And so I spent my whole life really trying to figure that out. And, oh, Tony says she can't hear and we appear to be frozen. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right. Well, I'm going to keep talking and maybe it'll catch up. Maybe it's just Tony. Anybody else having trouble hearing or seeing? And I'll just drop a comment. Anyone else having trouble hearing? All right. So where were we? Oh yes. So my story. So I spent my whole life trying to figure it out. I like had job after job after job after job. Awesome. I'm glad that you guys are not all having trouble. Excellent. Job after job after job, and I ended up in corporate for like 10 years. And was doing strategy and project management. That was the last corporate job I had. And every job that I took was like, seemed totally random and haphazard, right? So like I worked as, in restaurants, and I worked in retail, and I sold cars, and I worked in nonprofits, and like I did all these things to try to like figure out what my path was. And every job was like, it's just not quite right. It's just not quite right. It's just not quite right. And like I said, the last job that I had in corporate was working for a Fortune 25 financial company for 10 years doing strategy and project management for them. And I really loved what I did. It was an awesome job because it allowed me to use my GPS brain. This is what I tell people. I have a GPS brain. So like somebody tells me the end result they want to create, and I see all the ways that we can get there like a GPS. But it still wasn't quite right. It was like this enviable position. I worked from home. I had flexibility. I had the best boss. Like bonuses, lots of money, blah, blah, blah. But I just couldn't, just couldn't really, it just wasn't enough. Laura says, I've had so many jobs, nothing seemed that it was really for me. Yes, exactly, Laura. Totally 100%, right? And so finally, like I kept thinking, God, wouldn't it be nice to work for myself? Wouldn't it be nice not to have to put in a PTO request to get time off? I don't know if that's what you guys call it in the UK, but it's paid time off, right? Wouldn't it be nice not to have to ask my boss if I could like be off on a Friday or leave early, or to just never work on a Tuesday if I didn't want to ever again, right? And that call for the freedom and the fulfillment and to feel like I had everything that I wanted just got to be too much to bear. And so entrepreneurship was like hanging out there in the background. And really what I kept thinking was, wow, I could probably be a coach. I could like totally do that because I love to give people advice. I'm really good at giving people advice. And whether they want it or not, I was really, really good at it. I knew that. And so I thought, oh, I'll like go be a coach. And so, anyway, I then was immediately overwhelmed by like, okay, but how? Has anybody ever been overwhelmed by, oh yeah, okay, but how? Right? Or is it just me? Yes, Michelle says yes. Okay, awesome. So that how overwhelmed, but how was like too much to bear. And so I couldn't figure it out. Finally, I got an email from the universe. Do you guys get those notes from the universe emails from Mike Dooley? I got the email from the universe, and in the email from the universe, Mike Dooley was inviting, yes, you guys say yes. Okay, good. Not me. I'm not the only one. Excellent. So I got my email from the universe, and in it, Mike Dooley invited me to attend me and everybody, right? But me, I was the one who was reading it, to attend a certification weekend to get certified as a trainer of his Infinite Possibilities curriculum. And like instantly I saw the how. I was like, oh my gosh, I see it. I can get the certification. I can be credible. I can be a coach. I can go out of business on my own. Yay! So I went, I got the certification. I met Michelle Lowbridge, who some of you probably know, who introduced me to Michelle Childs, and had the most amazing time. And then promptly on Monday morning after the weekend, I was like, I'm a coach. But how the F do I build a business? And that is really where my business story began. So I spent the first year of my in my business researching and learning and trying and buying things and investing in things and doing all this stuff and making zero progress in my actual business. So like I made 60 whole dollars. Not $60,000, like 60 whole dollars my first year in business. And that was revenue, not even profit. So like, I didn't want to tell you what my profit and loss looked like that year. But I spent the whole year really like trying to figure out what my process would be or how I might get clients or whatever. And all of that learning and, whatever, and not really doing, gave me the opportunity to take all of these skills. Like I learned a ton about marketing and by the way, all those jobs that seemed really haphazard that I did before too, like nonprofits and selling cars and, working in strategy and project management, all of that combined to make me perfectly suited to do what I now do today. And so that essentially is my story. I quit my job so I did my business and my job together for about 18 months. And then I quit my job when I finally got to the point where I had more clients than I could handle in my part-time job, business. And that was amazing. And so I've been doing this full-time ever since. And I've got my 18-month-old babe. She's 18 months old this week. And my husband quit his job and he's home with me. He's a copywriter. We work in the business together and it's pretty amazing. Yay. I'm so glad this sounds familiar to you guys. This is awesome. 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 Awesome.
Awesome. So do you love the most?
Oh, what do I love the most about my business? It's hard to narrow it down to one thing because to me, all my values are represented. So I have the most amazing clients and I work with the most amazing people and I get to live out my epic mission by helping them, right? And so my epic mission is to change the world by helping people like you guys who want to change the world to do what you do best so that you can actually create the impact that you're here to make. So we all get to change the world together, right? And I actually get to do that every single day, which is like the most amazing thing. But then besides that, I also get to be at home with my daughter, right? All day long, I get to be at home with my daughter. My husband gets to be at home. We get to have this life together that's really like amazing. It's like exactly what I would have wanted. When I think about what it might have been like if I'd had a traditional job still and had to like go to work or leave the house or do any of those things and not be here with her, she would be different, right? She would be so different. She's so amazing because of this experience that I get to have. So I get to change the world. I get to change my own world. I get to be with my girl and my husband, and I get to hang out with the most brilliant people, and make an impact on them while they make an impact on me. It's really, and the world. Oh my gosh, it's like the best. It's like a trifecta of awesome.
That was so good.
Excellent.
So what are your plans for this year then, for 2017?
Yeah, 2017. So I'm really specific about like having a trajectory to like setting an intention and creating a trajectory to get there. And so for me, this year is all about filling my program so that I know that I'm actually making the impact on the world that I want to make. That's all that I want to do. And alongside that, the way that I'm doing that is to add as much value as I can everywhere that I can. So that's why I'm so psyched to talk to you guys, because the more value that I can add for you guys, the more opportunities you guys have to create the impact that you want to make and to make your movements really big and amazing and to impact all the people that you want to impact. So that's all that it's about, is getting in front of amazing people, adding value, and then filling my own programs. And that's all I care about this year. And obviously having fun with my family and doing those things, right? Like, yeah.
Of course. Gotta have the balance. So in terms of like the long-term mission, your epic mission, is there anything else in that? What's your epic goals?
Like I've set a goal of impacting 100,000 entrepreneurs who want to change the world over the next 5 years. And it seems a little bit crazy, but that's really what my intention is. And so what I love about that mission is that it doesn't mean that I have to necessarily touch or talk to 100,000 entrepreneurs individually, but that I can create a business that's scalable, or create opportunities to talk to 300 BizMoms like this, right? And say like, this is, inspire you to take some action or to do things differently in your business so that you can get better results, or to speak on a stage at an event, or who knows what, or create, a broader community within my Growth Tribe community or something like that. So really, like, I see the possibility for us in the world, especially now, oh my gosh, especially now, to create unity and connection and to empower love and kindness and the idea that everybody is equal and all of these things. Like, we have this opportunity to do it, and all the amazing people like us who want to create a world that is that way. My intention is really that we are able to do that, because the only thing that's stopping us is ourselves. And if I know that I can be a catalyst for your growth and for your ability to get the fuck out of your own way, excuse my language, but then I want to do that, right? So that you can go and impact the people that you're here to impact, so that they can impact the people that they're here to impact, and then the world can be amazing the way that we want it to be. So that's all.
Powerful. So powerful. It's so good. I love it. Can you hear me now?
It's a little better.
A little bit. So annoying. Never mind. So if you have any questions for you, please pop them in the comments. I'll put them in a second. So have you got any tips that you can share with the mums on running their business, or on their mission, or whatever it is? What are your top tips?
Yeah, top tips. Love that. Great question. And by the way, great questions to ask me. I can answer like any type of, marketing, business growth, results question. My wheelhouse, again, is like seeing the way to get there with my GPS map. So if you know where it is that you want to go and you're like, but how? If it's just a but how question, then throw it in there, or whatever. Really, if you want to know like mindset stuff, if you want a recipe for gluten-free paleo pancakes, I can give it, like, just throw it in and I'll do my best to answer. So top tips for running your business. So I talk a lot about creating efficiency, because I think that efficiency is like the magic tweak that we can make, that makes everything easier, right? And so, like, I talk about creating a hustle-free business, and really what that looks like is being as efficient as possible. And when I think about efficiency, I think about it a little bit differently than other people do. Like, I'm all about like creating systems and processes, and I actually help my clients to create marketing systems that work really well for them. But one of the things, there are actually two things that I'll tell you about right now as it relates to efficiency that I think are really important when you're running a business. And the number one is that you are your best strategy. You are your best strategy, right? So we spend a lot of time. I know that I can speak for myself too, right? When I say this, we spend a lot of time trying to fit ourselves into boxes and formulas and shoulds and systems and blah, and like, ugh. I spent that first year of my business like driving myself crazy and trying to fit myself into every formula under the sun, and it didn't work. It was so awful and annoying. And the reason that it didn't work is because all those blueprints and formulas and things that I bought, excuse me, I'm sorry, all those blueprints and formulas and things that I bought were made by someone else, for someone else, with their own business and needs and values in mind, right? So even though they said, I can guarantee you're going to make $10,000 a month, or you can add 5,000 people to your list in the next 5 days, or you can have a 6-figure business by just following these steps, even though I thought, wow, yes, like I'm going to follow these steps, just give me the steps, that's all I need. What it really comes down to is knowing yourself well enough to know what your steps are, what your system is. And so the more we try to fit ourselves into everybody else's blueprint and box, the harder it becomes, and the more of a hustle it becomes to do what we're doing. That whole year where I made $60, I felt really, really, really busy. I thought I was doing a ton. And in reality, I wasn't. I was just busy. Like I wasn't accomplishing anything. I was just busy, right? So Nicola says, couldn't agree more about the strategy. Comparison is the thief of joy. Yes, exactly, right? We compare and we try to say, well, let me just fit myself into this box and life will be great. I'll follow these steps and life will be great. And so what I've learned is that it's really all about knowing yourself and knowing what your values and intentions are, knowing how your business operates, knowing what you enjoy doing so that you can incorporate more of that into the strategies that you create. And so that's what I do with my clients. We spend a whole lot of time trying to figure out those things, testing and learning and trying new things so that we can create a strategy and a system and a process that's easy and fun that actually works for them. I hope this makes sense to you guys. Let me know if it doesn't, and I'll come back and answer some of these questions after I give you the second tip, which is, again, around efficiency, right? So like when we create a simple system, you're more efficient. You can get more done in less time. So the other thing that I like to think about, this is a little bit more specific, is anybody not familiar, or let's see, has anybody, give me some hearts or likes or something, or say Kevin Bacon, if you're familiar with the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. And for those of you that are here that have read my book, you may remember this, but I'll tell you about it anyway. Just tell me if you're familiar with it and I'll tell you about it anyway. So there's this game that you can play called the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, and it's a play on the 6 degrees of separation. And basically you can like name any actor, and then within 6 degrees or 6 other actors with other movies, you can always track back to a movie that Kevin Bacon's in. So the example that I like to give, simply because he's my dream beau, is Matthew McConaughey. And my husband knows, it's fine. So Matthew McConaughey was in Interstellar with John Lithgow, and John Lithgow was in Footloose with Kevin Bacon. And so Matthew McConaughey has 2 degrees of Kevin Bacon before you get back to Kevin Bacon. And so I like to think about business processes and activities in the same way, right? So you could, like for your marketing efforts, create a funnel that has a lead magnet, and then like a 65 email nurture sequence, and then you can have and send them to a webinar, and then invite people to the webinar, and then they get on a call with you, and then when they get on a call with you, they do that. Blah, blah, blah. Like there's all these different steps involved that are not 6 degrees away from the result that you want to create, right? So like the more steps that you're creating in the process, the longer it's going to take and the harder it's going to be to get to the end result you want. So what if the end result that you wanted to create was that ultimately what you wanted to do was just invite people into your program? Well, cool. Like, make a list of people that you want to talk to that you think might be a good fit for it. Schedule some calls with them, get on a call and make an offer. That's like 2 or 3 degrees of Kevin Bacon away from the end result you want. So the closer to the result you can get with the activities that you're doing, the easier it's going to feel, and the more fun, frankly, because you're probably not going to pick a whole bunch of shit that you want to do that like feels like it's going to be hard or a big pain in the butt. And that's not to say that there isn't an opportunity for you to create a 65 email nurture sequence. You can totally do that if that's something you really love. But just know that efficiency comes from as few steps as possible, as close to the result as you can get. Does this make sense? Yes. Okay. Michelle's nodding. All right. Cool. Should we look at some of these questions? I think some stuff.
Question. Yeah.
Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can see all of them. I can see. I know that there were a few more. Maybe Michelle, you can see them too.
I can see. So what kept you going when you only paid $60?
Oh, how did I? Oh, yeah. So she was asking, how did I hang in there while I only made $60 that year, and really it was like more like a $30,000 loss that year. So part of it was that, and really this is all of it, is that I had and continue to have such a deep, specific belief that this is what I'm here to do, and that there's really nothing else that I could do. Like, this is what I'm here to do. This is the change that I'm here to make in the world. This is the impact that I'm here to make. And that even though this year was hard, next year is going to be better. And even though this month was hard, next month is going to be better. And even though this week was hard, next week's going to be better. Even though today was hard, tomorrow's going to be better. And it's always, always, always in the back of my mind that there simply is nothing else that I could do, because I am so clear that this is the impact I'm here to make. And I just want to serve. That is like all I want to do. I just want to serve, because I know that when I get to do that, you get to grow, you get to get better results, you get to make an impact, and then the world gets to change. And I am so committed to that happening that all the rest of it doesn't matter, because all the rest of it is just an illusion. And I knew while I was going through it that this was my opportunity to learn about myself and about business. And so I embraced that, right? So like, even though in the moment I might've been like, I don't get it. Somebody tell me the steps. What do I need to do? How, blah, 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 right? But really, I was just so committed that there is no turning back. And I think somebody just said that too. No going back. Heather, yes, no going back, right? Like, this is where I'm going and you can't stop me. So even if everything goes sideways, I still just want to serve. I want this end result for the world and for you guys and for my family and for me so badly that there's nothing else I could possibly do than this. I hope that answers the question.
Awesome.
What other
courses you can buy, still not it?
How many? I want to see if I can see. Is there a way for me to see the questions in BeLive? Do you know?
I don't think no.
Okay. I'm just going to see if I can find the broadcast and look at the questions there, because I heard part of it. I can only see a few of them. I don't know why that is. All right. Can you say it one more time?
Hang on. It's she said, how many courses can I buy? I'll try and it's still not. There we go.
Okay. How many courses can one? That's perfect. How many courses can one buy and still not get it? Right. Exactly. I don't know if that's a question or just a comment from you there, but yes, I completely agree. Right. Like I think that there's this need within us to feel fulfilled and to feel like we're accomplishing something and we're doing the work. And oh, by the way, here's the other thing that I'll say is that I think that because we have this need and this deep desire to like know the answers and to figure things out ourselves and all of that stuff, right? That we look to these courses and we look externally to answer our questions. We look externally to find the solution, and that and really it's just a sign of resistance, right? It's just a sign of resistance, and it's a sign that there's something that we're afraid of looking at within ourselves that would allow us to say, actually, I know myself. Like, I can figure this out myself, right? And that's not to say that support isn't helpful too. Like, you can get that, but when you're trying to say, let me do it your way, or I don't know enough, so I have to do it somebody else's way, that's where the resistance lies. And so I think that when we keep buying courses, keep investing in things, especially when it's anything having to do with DIY, I say the DIY is actually DIY plus inner committee. Because that's what it really comes down to. When you don't have the support you need to reflect back to you how amazing and awesome you are, then you just sit in your resistance and you spin and you spin and you spin and you spin and you spin. Anybody else familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope that answers the question. Feel free, if there's more, I'm happy to clarify. Just comment and let me know.
I've just Laura.
Perfect. Hi, I run a wedding stationery design company offering bespoke stationery products. I'm aiming very much towards the high end of the market. Awesome. I have so much I want to do, but money is always a restraint. How do people get beyond this? I have a ton of samples and I want to make that you want to make, and to create new marketing material more focused at the high end market. Do people take loans to get over the hurdle? So I just want to confirm that you're talking about you taking a loan out to be able to do more, to market yourself more in your business. And maybe you can just comment. And if that's the case, then I'll speak to that. I'll speak to the other, which might be for the people that you're marketing to, if that's what you're talking about. Either way, my feeling is that I can't. So here's the thing, right? You're going to always know what's best for you. And so I can't advise you on what's best for you because you'll always know that. But when you get quiet, if you can really think about how investing in yourself is going to change your outcome or help you create the outcome that you want to create, then that I think is where the answer lies for you. For me, I invest in myself. And if it means that I have to put things on a credit card because I know that it's going to get me the result I want to create, then I'm going to do it. Because I know that I always get a return on my investment at least 3 times. Always, 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 always. Like the $30,000 or so that I invested that first year, when I made $60 in profit, it's come back to me 3 times since then, right? Like just from that particular experience, right? So I know that when I invest in something, I get my return back. If you can say that about yourself, and here's the thing, right? Is that it's like such a mind, I don't want to use the F word, but because we have to know that, right? Like we have to be aware of that the possibility exists for us to like do it, like to know that we can do it, to have faith in ourselves that we can actually create the result. Because it's really easy to sit back here and go with our inner committee, right? To go, oh, but we've given in before, or we've made a commitment and not stood by it, or what if you don't, or what if this is the time where you totally fail and you end up, homeless in the gutter or whatever, right? And so I think that the more that you can look back and really know what's true for you about who you are and how you operate, right? Like how you show up and what you can expect from yourself, but not from up here, not from this place of let me tell you how much you suck, but from who you really know yourself to be in your heart, in your gut, right? Like deep in your body. Then that is where you can find the answer about whether it makes sense to take out loans. I have had clients who paid me cash. I've had clients who've taken out loans. I've had, but like in the end, when you invest in yourself, you're always going out on a limb. Always, always. And what's amazing about that is that the more that you go out on those limbs and you face the fear and you stand at the edge of the cliff and you look down into the abyss and you say, I have no idea what's down there. No idea. It's complete, utter blackness, no clue whatsoever. The bigger the opportunity for you to grow, especially when you're willing to jump, right? Michelle's nodding. Okay, cool. I'm glad that this makes sense. That was a big, long tangent on that one. Hopefully that's excellent. All right, let's see, another question. Do you think posting in Facebook groups still works? I was recently advised to post in each group 5 times a day. What's your opinion on this, as I have not seen traction from it yet? Do you know who asked this question, Michelle?
Yeah, Tara.
Tara? Okay. So Tara, my curiosity, and feel free to comment and I'll then talk about it in general. But my question back to you, Tara, would be, how do you like the idea of posting in Facebook groups 5 times a day? How do you feel about it, right? And who told you that was a good idea, right? That's just a question for you. Feel free to comment more and tell me about it. My guess is that because you've not seen traction from it yet, is that you probably don't necessarily think it's an idea that really makes sense to you, right? Because what I know to be true is that when you are taking action authentically from where you are and doing the things, like taking action from a place that's about you knowing yourself and knowing what you enjoy doing and doing things that are fun for you, then you do get results, right? You do see traction. So for example, I had, let me think of a good example for me. So I took a course on like how to do webinars or whatever. And I followed the blueprint and the formula that was provided. And it's like, do this, 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 and this. And this is how you do this. And you make sure you tell them to tweet in the very beginning. And then you do this and you acknowledge them and then you make the offer and blah, 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 like all those things, right? And I started doing webinars that way. And I got crickets. Like I didn't make one sale. And this was like 7-figure webinars. This is how you make 7 figures doing it. And just follow this exact formula and do it, deliver it this way, and blah, 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 right? And I followed it and it didn't work because part of me was like back here, I didn't really want to hear it, but back here I was going, this doesn't really feel like you. like this isn't really, like, I wouldn't say it this way, or I wouldn't do it this way. I would probably be a little bit more flowy and natural about it. I might not do this part at all. Like telling people to tweet. I'm not even on Twitter, right? Like I wouldn't do that, right? But I did it. And so Tara, my question to you then again, right, is like, if you're not seeing traction from it, is it something that you're enjoying doing, or are you feeling like it's something that you should do or you have to do because maybe somebody you paid or you're paying is telling you to do it, or who knows what? So that would be my question back to you. I think in general, totally, Facebook is totally a thing that can work. Definitely. I have built my entire business doing it on Facebook, right? In groups and, like whatever. And at the same time, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's something that's going to work for you, because maybe you don't like Facebook. Maybe you think that posting 5 times a day in every single group is going to bombard people with shit that they don't need. Who knows? Here's the one generic piece of information that I can give you for marketing that I think is universal. And that is that the more that you can just show up in service of others, like genuinely, like the seed of intention that you're planting every time you take an action. If the seed of intention that you plant every time you take an action is based in, I am authentically me and I just want to help. And it's not, this action that I'm going to take better yield a result for me, or boy, oh boy, it's not going to be worth doing at all, right? And not even that, like even when we show up feeling like we're kind of grabby, or like, boy, I hope this works out for me by doing this, right? Like when we plant the seed of intention, that's like, oh, I hope this works out for me, right? Like I hope somebody is interested in this post and they read it and they want to then reach out to me and do business with me. Like even that feels innocuous. It doesn't feel like it's that grabby, but it's grabby and it's about you. And so the more that you can show up and say, wow, how can I serve today? Who can I make an impact on? What can I do that's going to help somebody else's life, right? That is where the results show up, the traction shows up, and it's like amazingly magical how it happens. I can give you more examples, but I don't want to belabor this point. I hope that's helpful. Tara says, a coach told me that it was what I needed to do, finding it hard to keep up with the content, but once a day didn't work. Okay, so Tara, take time and just check in with yourself, right? And just check in with yourself and decide if that's in alignment. Like if you were in the group, would you love it if somebody was posting 5 times a day? And what might you, because maybe it is okay, like maybe it is okay, but what you're posting is maybe not coming from that place where you've planted a seed of intention to serve and to do good and to, maybe because the coach said you need to do this and you're like, okay, cool. The coach says I need to do this because the coach knows that I'm going to get a result and I really want that result. So I better go do it so I can get a result, right? Then you're back in like your ego, you're back in the let me serve myself place. But I know, Tara, you wouldn't be in this community if you didn't have a big heart and an intention to help others. And so if you can just flip it around and come from that place of my intention is to serve others and what can I do today that's going to add value for people, genuinely with no attachment to any outcome other than I just want to serve, then maybe it'll feel better for you. Or maybe it's just completely the wrong tactic for you 100%. My suggestion is to do a gut check, right? So like, is it spirit resistance that's making it feel like this isn't something that you might want to do, or is it fear-based resistance? And the way that you know the difference is fear-based resistance makes you want to vomit because you're like, oh God, there's probably some really big change on the other side of this, so I better not do it because I might die, and that would be terrible, right? Okay, cool. So we'll move on. Hopefully that's helpful. Michelle, should I keep looking at the?
No question yet.
Okay, cool. I was wondering how people get over the hurdle of wanting to launch a business without the funds. Okay, cool. I hope some of what I said before about the whole idea of like making an investment in yourself and stuff is helpful. I think that, again, the best advice that I can give around that is to look within and decide what's best for you and your own situation and your family and all that, but also know that the more that you're willing to invest in yourself, the better return you're going to get, especially if you absolutely know with 100% conviction that you can't fail, right? You're never going to fail. Everything's always perfect. You're 100% successful at anything that you do because you're setting some sort of an intention anywhere, whether you're aware of it or not. So just know you're always successful 100% all the time. And so if you like, I had set a plan, by the way, that I was going to like get my credit cards paid off and I was going to have 6 months of, money in savings before we launched the business or before I quit the job. And I got to the point where I had so many clients that I just couldn't wait anymore. I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't do both anymore. I didn't have time for it. And so I had to leave. I had to look down into the abyss and say, it's dark down there. I don't know what's down there awaiting me, but I have to go. So unless you're trying to, buy product and you need cash in hand to do it, or you are trying to, build a brick and mortar and you have to put money up front to, to put a down payment on a building or something like that, I would say there's always a way. And so just ask for the third door to be shown to you. What's the way that's going to help you launch the business and do the thing that you need to do without having to feel like you've got to have all the little ducks in place before you do it, because that's, again, just typically just resistance showing up. Let's see. I have found myself spread too thinly across social media that I can't do anything very well. I'm not very technological, but is there a bare bones that will get me seen and build my list? Sam, okay. So here's my question to you, Sam. I'm sorry to keep answering questions by asking more questions, but if you're not really technological and social media isn't necessarily something that you like, at least I'm assuming this, maybe that's not the case. What do you like? How do you like to connect with people, right? Like, how do you enjoy connecting with people? It's number one. And you can feel free to answer, and then maybe we can workshop this a little bit for a minute if we've got time. And then number two, and if not, then I'll come back in the comments later and workshop it with you. Number two would be, do you have the ability to delegate the technological stuff? Because if you could, and so say your answer is, I love connecting with people by writing content. Like, I love to write stories. I love to tell my story. I love to write success stories. I love to give tips. I love to write. Then cool. If you love to write and you love to do the writing, then could somebody else manage the technological part of it for you? Could you, have a VA that you paid for 2 hours a week to set your stuff up in Hootsuite so that it goes out automatically and you don't even have to think about it, right? Is that something that you could do? If you tell me that the way that you love to connect with people is more in person, then maybe you attend more BizMoms networking events. Maybe you start a BizMoms chapter where you live so that you can actually be the leader of that organization. He is one of your hosts. Amazing, amazing. So you're already a center of influence there, right? So you're furthering the mission of BizMoms, and you have the ability while you're there to add tremendous, tremendous value, right? So, Sammy says, you say, I get Facebook and that is it. You're good at communication and personal face-to-face, and you write well too. If you enjoy writing, and if you love being with people face-to-face, then just start creating more opportunities to do those things, right? So if you really, really, really like writing and you get Facebook, then just stick with Facebook. There's absolutely no reason to learn other platforms. Like, pick one and stick with it. The thing that I am doing in my business, right? I'm creating I go on Instagram occasionally, right? I post things there because I know that then I can post them there and then it'll drop into Facebook if I wanted to, but it's a whole other platform to learn. Facebook is my place. It just is. I meet people here, I connect, I have Messenger, I have groups, I have all these things. And so pick one or two tactics and leave it at that. You don't need Twitter, you don't need Snapchat, you don't need any of that. All the people that tell you do, it works for them and not for you. And so if you get Facebook, Sam, stick with Facebook. And if you don't get Facebook that much and you're like, it feels like a time suck or I don't really enjoy it or whatever, then see if you can delegate some of it and move on to greener pastures. Just, if you like to write a post. It can be long. Go take a look at my page anytime you want, my personal page. We can friend me or you can see it, I think, without friending me. And you can see how long my posts are. They're like blog posts. And I put them up here and people engage with them and it's great fun. So that's totally a thing that you can do on Facebook if you like it. And then connect with the BizMoms and any other community in person that you want. Create opportunities to bring people together in person because that seems like it's something that you enjoy. I hope that's helpful.
Awesome. Yay!
Yay!
Thank you so much. So we'll be back tomorrow night, live group. If you want to do it directly into the group tomorrow night, avoid this kind of technical situation. That'll probably be better fun too. And around to answer questions and stuff. So if you're watching the replay, if you've got any questions, then please put them in the comments. And we'll be back tomorrow night.
Yeah, tag me, you guys, if you have more questions. Yeah, absolutely. Tag me if you have more questions. Drop in here in the comments here. Drop a post in the group and tag me. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have. And I can't wait to continue to support. I hope this is helpful. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you. You guys have a lovely evening.
We'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks. Bye.